All right, chat. Today we're reacting to a Tua video. Now, if you guys don't know, She Got Sports. She's up there with like football content. And since Tua's going to Atlanta, I feel like we should watch this because not done the best in those scenarios. So let's get it.
In 2023, Tua Tagovailoa was on top of the NFL. He led the league in passing yards, took Miami to the playoffs, and signed a massive $212 million contract extension. Everything looked perfect. But just 2 years later, he was benched.
He got so many
and
concussions.
Cut. Most people think injuries destroyed Tua's career, but the real story is way more complicated than that. So how did a quarterback who once looked like the future of the league lose everything so quickly? To find out, we have to go back to the childhood decision that changed the trajectory of his career.
Interesting.
You see, Tua is naturally right-handed, but his father, who throws lefty, made a choice early on that most parents would never even consider. He was going to train his son to throw a football with his left hand, and from that point forward, every rep,
it gives you an advantage. Because not a lot of players are left-handed. Like Dylan Gabriel can make certain passes that Shedeur can't simply because he's left-handed. But most of the time, right-handed QBs do better. Like you have to roll out the opposite way if you're left-handed. It just doesn't make sense too much. But Tua was making it work.
So
I'm curious on why this is why she's saying.
No exceptions. But the training wasn't just unconventional. It was intense. Tua later revealed that his dad would hit him with a belt if he threw an interception during a game.
What?
Tua attended St.
Louis
Louis High School in
Honolulu,
like,
bro.
The same school that produced Heisman Trophy winner Marcus Mariota, who actually served as a mentor to the young quarterback growing up in Hawaii. And just like Mariota, Tua dominated. By the time he graduated, Tua had become Hawaii's
I think he's getting a shot this year.
High school passing leader with 8,158 passing yards and 84 touchdowns. As a five-star recruit ranked as the top prospect in Hawaii, Tua had 17 scholarship offers. His dad felt like Alabama was the best school for him, so that's where Tua decided to commit. As a true freshman in 2017, Tua sat behind sophomore quarterback Jalen Hurts. He barely played, completing just 49 passes in mop-up duty throughout the season.
But look, that's a pass he can make because he's left-handed.
Everything. January 8th, 2018. The College Football Playoff National Championship.
Why does this feel
Alabama
so
was trailing Georgia 13-0 at halftime.
This 2018, this is 8 years ago. It just does not feel like 8 years ago.
The offense looked lifeless. So Nick Saban decided to make one of the boldest coaching moves in college football history. He benched his starting quarterback and put in the true freshman from Hawaii. Tua came in and led the comeback. He threw for 166 yards and 3 touchdowns.
This is how you get your start, though. You got to ball out.
Strike to Devontae Smith in overtime. Alabama won 26-23, and just like that, a star was born. The following season, as a sophomore, Tua took over as the full-time starter. And he didn't just play well. He played at a historic level. He threw for 3,966 yards, 43 touchdowns, and only 6 interceptions, posting a 199.4 passer efficiency rating, the best in FBS history at the time. He dropped 387 yards and 4 touchdowns on Texas A&M. He lit up Auburn for 324 yards and 5 touchdowns in the Iron Bowl. He won the Maxwell Award, the Walter Camp Award, and was named SEC Offensive Player of the Year. He also finished second in Heisman voting behind winner Kyler Murray. In the college football playoff semifinal against Oklahoma, Tua was
Kyler's getting another shot too. I think honestly, bro, I think genuinely, and I'm saying this, I think both of them end up playing good. Kyler's, he's in Minnesota. That's a great fit for him. Tua, he's on a $1 million deal for Atlanta. Like, yeah, he's at Atlanta. So, like, the way I see it going for both of them, I think I see it going pretty well. They both have a new opportunity. They both have a fresh start. So, I'm excited to see them both play well. They're like vet quarterbacks now. Like, it's not 2018 yesterday. It was 8 years ago. So.
Perfect. Going 24 of 27 for 300.
That's an easier pass for a left-handed QB.
Touchdowns as Alabama jumped out to a 28-0 lead. But in the national championship against Clemson, Tua struggled, throwing 2 interceptions in a 44-16 loss.
But
it was an early sign of a pattern that would follow him. When the competition was at its absolute best, Tua's game dipped. Still, heading into his junior year in 2019, Tua was the consensus #1 pick in the upcoming NFL draft. The hashtag tank for Tua
Tank
was
for Tua.
everywhere, with fans of struggling NFL
Oh,
teams
man, I
openly
remember it.
hoping they lost games for the chance to draft him. But then the injuries started piling up. First, a high ankle sprain against Tennessee that required surgery, and then came
Which is
the
like,
game
why are you...
against
Never
Mississippi
mind.
State. Alabama was up 35-7 in the second quarter. Tua got sacked, was driven into the ground by two defenders, and the moment he hit the turf, everyone knew something was terribly wrong. He
Turf
dislocated
fields
his hip,
suck.
fractured
They
the
suck,
posterior wall
bro.
of his
Why
hip
are we still
socket,
playing on
broke his
turf?
nose, and suffered a concussion, all on the same play. He was carted off the field, then flown to a hospital for surgery.
This is before the
Comparisons to
NFL's
Bo
injuries
Jackson's
anyways.
career-ending hip injury immediately surfaced. Many people thought Tua's football career might be over. Despite the
Like, the fact that he
devastating
still
injury,
got
Tua
drafted and was
declared for
playing
the
good is
2020
good.
NFL draft.
That's why I think he can do
But
it
his draft
again.
stock, which had once been locked in at number 1, had taken a massive hit.
Makes
Scouts
sense.
were nervous. This wasn't just the hip. It was the surgeries on both ankles, the knee issues from his sophomore year, and the fact that he was coming off one of the most serious injuries a football player can suffer. Joe Burrow, who had led LSU to a national championship, took over the number 1
Joe
spot.
Burrow.
Then it was Chase Young to Washington at 2, Jeff Okudah to Detroit at 3, and Andrew Thomas to the Giants at 4. With the 5th overall pick, the Dolphins took a gamble and drafted Tua.
I think
One
this
pick
is
later,
still the best
Justin
case
Herbert
scenario.
went to the
But then again, I
Chargers.
mean, like, you have Justin Herbert right there. Like, I feel like if Tua doesn't get all those concussion injuries, I honestly think that it's a better fit in Miami. I think Justin Herbert doesn't flourish the way he does in LA, honestly. That probably a bad take. I feel like Justin Herbert probably played well in Miami. I'm not saying he doesn't, but I think Tua was still the right pick for them.
This draft order would haunt Tua for years because Herbert immediately became a star, while Tua spent his early career just trying to prove he belonged on an NFL field.
Yeah.
Tua's rookie year was tough from the start, and not just because of his hip. Head coach Brian Flores reportedly preferred Justin Herbert in the draft, but general manager Chris Greer overruled him and selected Tua. That dynamic set the tone for a
That
rocky
kinda sucks when
relationship
they
between the
butt
coach
heads
and
like
his young
that.
quarterback. Flores named veteran Ryan Fitzpatrick as the starter and kept Tua on the bench for the first 7 weeks of the season. When Tua finally got his shot in Week 8 against the Rams, he played solid but unspectacular football. He led the Dolphins to 3 straight wins, but the leash was short. In a game against the Broncos, Flores pulled him in the 4th quarter for Fitzpatrick. The same thing happened later in the season against the Raiders. In Week 14 against the Chiefs, Tua showed a flash of his potential, throwing for 316 yards and 2 touchdowns in a close loss. But then, in the final game of the season, with a playoff spot on the line, he threw 3 interceptions
And you
in
just
a
can't do that.
56-26 blowout loss to the Bills. He finished the year with 1,814 passing yards, 11 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions in 9 games. The numbers weren't terrible, but being benched twice as a top 5 pick sent a clear message. His coach didn't fully
like
trust
him.
him.
Yeah.
If you thought things would get better in year 2, think again. During the entire
Trade
2021
rumors. Yeah,
offseason,
Deshaun
the
Watson.
Dolphins were actively trying to trade for quarterback Deshaun Watson. Dolphins owner Stephen Ross was reportedly on the phone with Watson discussing a blockbuster deal. But Tua kept his head down and played. He opened the season with a win
you
over
can
the
do.
Patriots. Then, in Week 2, he fractured several ribs against the Bills and was placed on injured reserve.
You hate
missing the
seeing
next
injuries
3
because then it's
games.
like you
He
can
returned
like
to
look
field in
at the
Week
tackle and
6,
you're
but
like,
even
that's
with
why
him
he's
back under
injured,
center,
bro.
the
But
team
it's
stumbled to a 1-7
happens, bro.
record. But then the Dolphins caught fire. From weeks 10 through 18, Miami went 8-1, with Tua playing some of the best football of his young career. In
Yep.
Week 13
And this
against
is
the
and
Giants,
this is what
he
you
became
like
the
to
first
see.
Dolphins quarterback since Dan Marino to throw for 21 completions in the first half. And he finished the regular season by sweeping the rival Patriots for the first time since 2000. But the numbers
Great feat.
still didn't jump off the page. He finished the year with 2,653 passing yards, 16 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions in 13 games.
Still
And
not
despite
good.
the late season surge, Miami missed the playoffs at 9-8. The
Yep.
Dolphins fired Brian Flores after the season, and years later,
Deserved.
Tua revealed exactly what playing under Flores was like. On the Dan Le Batard show, he called Flores a, quote, terrible person and said it felt like every day his coach was telling him he didn't belong, that he wasn't good enough.
Yeah, I mean, the Brian Flores, like, I don't know. Like, there's better coaches than that, bro. And it's kind of like this Kevin Stefanski thing. Like, Kevin Stefanski didn't really want to draft Shador, so you kind of saw that at the beginning of the season where he was giving Dylan Gabriel more of a chance because that's who he wanted to pick. But that's why I don't understand why I don't understand. The Browns had such a good draft class, but they picked up 2 running backs and 2 QBs. All 4 people are good players, but why do you need 2 of both positions? You kind of just already sets them like against each other, and it's like, who are you going to actually give a shot to like prove themselves? You know,
and that someone else should have his job.
the 2 running
Prior
backs
to the
isn't
2022
as bad. You
season,
get,
the Dolphins hired
Jahmyr
Mike
Gibbs
McDaniel as their new
like the Lions showed us, like 1-2 punch is still very effective.
head coach. And from day one, it was a completely different world for Tua. McDaniel was everything Flores wasn't.
Mike McDaniel was such a
Supportive,
better
positive,
coach,
and he
and it
built the
showed.
entire offense around Tua's strengths: quick decisions, accurate throws, and getting the ball to playmakers in space. On top of that, the Dolphins traded for Tyreek Hill, pairing him with Jaden Waddle to give Tua the fastest receiving duo in the NFL.
That's a pretty
In
good,
week 2
pretty
against the
good wide
Ravens,
receiver core,
Tua
bro.
put together one of the greatest individual performances in NFL history. Down 28-7 at halftime, Tua threw for 319 yards and 5 touchdowns in the second half alone.
And it's like, if he
including
can get back to this, he will do good in Atlanta. But he has to get back to
Waddle with just 14 seconds left. His final stat line, 469 passing yards and 6 touchdowns, tying the Dolphins' franchise record held by Dan Marino.
It's just like, can he do it with all the concussions and all the injuries?
The team had come back from a 21-point fourth quarter deficit to win. Tua was playing like a top 5 quarterback.
Wait, I wonder, does she?
But then
does she mention the 70-20 game?
Everything came crashing down. In week 3 against the Bills, Tua took a hit and slammed the back of his head on the turf. He got up, wobbled, then stumbled onto the floor. Despite showing signs of a head injury, the team let him return to the game.
Which is why? Why was this allowed? He clearly had a concussion. He got up stumbling.
Attributing his instability to a
malpractice.
back injury. Just 4 days later, on Thursday Night Football against the Bengals, Tua was sacked and violently
and then he got
ground.
another concussion.
Off the turf, and this time there was no question. His fingers curled into an unnatural position as his arms locked up in what doctors call a fencing response, a neurological reaction to
He shouldn't even have been
brain
playing.
trauma.
He already had a concussion. Like,
He was stretchered off the field and taken by ambulance to a local hospital. The entire country watched what happened.
and people
on
meme
live
this, bro. They meme that. That was his second concussion of the week, by the way. On a short week, a 4-day week where they prepare for 2, like,
It
I'll
was
never
one of the
understand
scariest
bro.
moments in recent NFL history. The fallout was massive. The NFLPA fired the independent neurologist who had cleared
Insanely
Tua after the Bills
horrible.
game. The NFL overhauled its entire concussion protocol, creating what became known as Tua's rule, which now requires a player to be immediately ruled out from the game if he exhibits gross motor instability. Following the
Which
concussion,
is insane
Tua
that
missed
we
just
got to 2022 before that was a thing.
games. He returned in week 7 and put up 382 yards and 3
So
touchdowns
still good.
against the Lions, completing 80% of his passes. It seemed like he was back. But then on Christmas Day against the Packers, he suffered another concussion. This
And
one
they keep dropping this dude on his head. Like, he keeps getting dropped on his head. Like, so many concussions,
undetected
bro.
during the game, and he wasn't diagnosed till the next day. However, during that matchup, he threw 3 interceptions in the second half, all of which came after he suffered a hit that many believed caused the concussion. Tua ended up missing the final 2 regular season games and the Dolphins' first playoff appearance since 2016. Despite all the missed time, Tua finished with 3,548 passing yards,
So he's
25
improving
touchdowns,
despite
and
the
8
odds.
interceptions in just 13 games, leading the league in passer rating. Also, guys, real quick, I just want to let you know I relaunched channel memberships. There are now 3 tiers, so you guys, when I do a live about anything, talk with you guys. Did he seriously consider interested in that? Just click the join button below and it will show you all the tiers and stuff. After the season, he admitted he seriously considered retirement. His mother reportedly urged him to walk away, but ultimately, Tua decided to keep playing. He started practicing jiu-jitsu.
I think he wants to just
fall more safely.
Yeah, that was a smart decision because I mean he just got dropped on his head 3 concussions in one season. I understand his mom wanted him to give up because he already made like $100 million at this point. He doesn't have to keep playing. I think he kind of just wants to prove people right. Like he wants to prove people that he can be that QB, which sucks because he's gonna have some of the most insane CT.
And for one shining year, it looked like Tua had put it all behind him. The 2023 season was everything Dolphins fans had dreamed of. In week 1 against the Chargers, Tua threw for 466 yards and 3 touchdowns in a 36-34 thriller. In week 3, he torched the Broncos for 309 yards and 4 touchdowns in a 70-20
She mentioned it. All right, look. She mentioned it. It, bro.
blowout. He earned AFC Offensive Player of the Month honors for his performance in September. Tua played all 17 games for the first time in his career that year. He led the NFL with 4,624 passing yards, threw a career high 29 touchdowns, and completed over 69% of his passes. He made his first Pro Bowl and led the Dolphins to an 11-6 record. But then came the playoffs, and once again, on the biggest stage against the top team, Tua disappeared. In the wildcard round against the Chiefs, he threw for just 199 yards with 1 touchdown and 1 interception in a 26-7 loss. Kansas City's defense took away his quick throws, forced him off his first read, and Tua had no answer. Off the back of his best season, the Dolphins rewarded Tua with a $412.4 million extension, making him one of the highest paid quarterbacks in NFL history. But almost immediately, things started to fall apart. In week 1 of the 2024 season, Tua threw for 336 yards and led a game-winning drive against the Jaguars. It looked like business as usual. But in week 2, on Thursday Night Football against the Bills, it happened again. Tua scrambled up the middle and lowered his head directly into
this one's his fault. Easily his fault.
Of Bills safety Damar Hamlin. He hit the ground.
And it's so crazy how it's Damar Hamlin that got this.
And once again displayed the fencing response. It was his 3rd diagnosed concussion in just 2 years. Despite being asked about wearing a guardian cap, a soft padding that fits over the helmet that the NFL says can reduce impact by up to 10%, Tua declined, calling it a, quote,
this sounds insane.
Personal choice. He was placed on injured reserve and missed 4
You don't have
games.
that choice. You have 5 concussions in 2 years.
Of the old Tua. Against the Patriots, he threw 4 touchdowns, and in a stretch from weeks 12 through 14, he threw for over 300 yards in 3 consecutive games.
But he still was playing good.
Season hip injury cost him the final 2 games.
But then that's another injury.
He finished the year with 2,867 yards, 19 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions in 11 games, while leading the league in completion percentage at 72.9%. The stats looked okay on paper, but something felt different.
This season wasn't good.
Tua wasn't pushing the ball down the field like he did in 2023, and the cracks were starting to show. And then came 2025 when everything unraveled. From the season opener, something looked different about Tua. Against the Colts, he threw for just 114 yards with 2 interceptions and a fumble in a 33-8 blowout loss.
Protecting the ball.
He looked hesitant in the pocket, uneasy, like a quarterback constantly bracing for the next hit rather than reading the defense in front of him. The mistakes kept coming. In back-to-back weeks against the Chargers and Browns, he threw 3 interceptions in each game. And the issues went deeper than just the stat sheet. Defenses had figured Tua out. They knew if they took away his first read, he was in trouble. Instead of working through his progression and finding the second or third option, Tua would either force the ball into coverage or hold it too long and take a sack. When the play broke down and he had to improvise to extend the play, move in the pocket, and create something off script, he just couldn't do it. The quick decision, rhythm-based passing game that had made him so effective under McDaniel was completely gone. It was like watching a totally different quarterback. The Tua who threw 6 touchdowns against the Ravens, who led the league in passing yards, who made throws with pinpoint accuracy before the defense could react, that version of Tua had disappeared. In his place was a quarterback who looked lost when the play didn't go exactly as designed, who couldn't read what the defense was giving him, and who seemed afraid to pull the trigger on anything other than the short, safe throw. When the Dolphins went on a 4-game win streak mid-season, it wasn't because of Tua. It was despite him. During that stretch, he threw for fewer than 175 yards in every game, with just 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions.
Right? He was going
the coaching
off.
Staff leaned heavily on the running game, essentially hiding Tua's limitations. McDaniel had consciously scaled back the passing attack because he didn't trust his quarterback. But when the ground game slowed down, there was nowhere to hide. On Monday Night Football against the Steelers, Tua put up just 65 passing yards through 3 quarters with an interception and 2 sacks. Throughout the first 14 games, Tua had already thrown 15 interceptions, the second most in the entire league. And then,
way more than he used to throw.
Mike McDaniel made it official. Tua was being benched in favor of rookie Quinn Ewers, the same coach who had believed in him, who had built the offense around him, who had helped him become a Pro Bowl quarterback, was sitting him down. The Dolphins
Which
finished the
it
season
has to
7-10.
happen, bro. He wasn't
McDaniel was
playing good.
fired, and in March 2026, the Dolphins released Tua Tagovailoa, taking on an NFL record $99.2 million in dead cap money. Just 2 years after signing a $212 million
Insane dead cap. That's worse than the Broncos with Russell Wilson. But with that, he's gonna get his opportunity in Atlanta. I believe in him, but man,
extension.
it's gonna be difficult,
Tua
bro.
was
He's gonna have to
gone.
prove
Now,
it.
at 28 years old, Tua heads to Atlanta for a fresh start. Whether he can recapture even a fraction of what he showed in 2023 remains to be seen. Carson Wentz is another quarterback whose career was destroyed and kind of by his own decisions. If you want to see what happened with him,
hey, that's a good plug, bro. But yeah, W video from her. We're gonna watch her a lot more on the channel. I've wanted to watch her documentary. She knows what she's talking about, so I definitely wanted to. But yeah, hopefully Tua gets a better start. That's all I can really say. Like, we just have to see. Like, it's kind of the same thing with Kyler Murray, like with Minnesota. We just have to see at the beginning of the season. But yeah, make sure y'all follow the Twitch, StoryofMike with 2 eyes, and follow the YouTube. I mean, you're watching it right now, so go ahead and hit the sub. I'll see you guys later. Peace.